Now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Alright, this is the last stream I'm gonna do until probably Sunday, maybe Monday. Because I'm gonna be out of town for a while. We're chilling, we're relaxing, we're enjoying a little more Umineko. I'm not sure if this is gonna be a 3-hour stream, I'm not sure yet. I'm feeling kinda schmutzig right now, so we'll see how long I wanna go for. I'm kinda tired. Which is weird because I actually slept really well. I slept last night the best I probably slept in like 2 weeks. But I'm still tired. But I'm just glad I'm getting any sleep at this point, so. Another wacky politics day, but at this point, when the news cycle is as inflammatory as it is, that's not really all that surprising. Somebody get me a doctor. Where we last left off, shit was going down, but at this point, this is just kind of like a regular goings-on type bit moment. We had the whole thing where we learned that Shannon had made a pact with Beatrice, and she kind of set the ball in motion to kind of unlock Beatrice's power that was being restricted by a mirror at the Tori Shrine on Rokenjima, which we know was exploded by lightning whenever Battler and the crew first gets there at the beginning of episode 1. We've kind of gone back in time and learned a little bit about what happened before that. And kind of gave us some background into how, even though George was literally just joking about, oh, it's magic, yeah, totally. No, like, Shannon literally used magic to get them together because, like, it was going, like, the hurt was that dire. I'm all watered up. I got some water. I had a couple really good beers today because I went to a bar for the first time in a while. I had like a rice flavored koji beer. I don't know if it was rice flavored, but it had rice in it. It was really good. And I had some good lager because I'm a big lager boy. I always think about that one picture. I wish I could pull it up right now, but I don't want to. I don't feel like changing my stream inputs around. But it's that Hobgoblin ale meme. Lager boy. It's the Hobgoblin beer picture where he's like, "What's the matter, lager boy? Afraid you might taste something?" And then I've had Hobgoblin lager. It's red ale. It's terrible. It's the worst beer I've ever had in my whole life. I've had red ales that are like a bazillion times better. It's a metal. I can get it as a metal sign for $10. Oh my gosh. That is so freaking tempting. I really want to get the Lager Boy one. Oh my gosh. I wish I need to get an apartment again. Alright. Well, I see no reason to delay this. What? What do you mean separate rooms? Hold up, let me make sure I have this tab up so I can see my audio levels. Okay, we're good. What do you mean separate rooms? So wait, you and George Nissan stayed in different rooms on purpose? Yes. Is it really so strange? Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with a chocolate-coated Chinsuko biscuit that Shannon had brought as a present from Okinawa. They went... Really? They went on a big date? And they stayed in separate rooms? Really? And it all came flying out at Shannon when Jessica cried out, Shannon, why did you even go on a trip to Okinawa? You were even alone with George Nissan. Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. And I like fish and stuff. That's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and girl going on an overnight trip, right? And you're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses? And seriously, what's up with the guy and girl staying in different rooms? As for kisses, no comment. But we did hug. George Sand's chest was warm. This poor girl gets her shit killed. For nothing. She literally did it all for a hug, man. She unleashed the witch for a fucking hug. No, Shannon. This is miserable. That's not the point. Ah, jeez. Why do couples like this exist? Oh my god. I can't take it anymore. From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons, but it looks like Jessica found their pace to be pretty irritating. For a while, Jessica chewed her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint in agony on her bed. Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since their relationship had started at an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be at an aquarium must have also been some commemorative value. That's like a huge commemorative turning point. And your first overnight trip, how could you make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms? A couple taking 2 single rooms. She's right. Ah, jeez, seriously, what's wrong with you? We are both unmarried. George-san says showing restraint is good manners for a couple. Like I said, the whole point of this overnight trip was so that you could overcome that stage, right? I'm like moving my hands to the maximum right now. You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging right now. But lady, I don't know what you mean by that. But George Shabo was a real gentleman with me until the end. There's total fucking dorks. Total freaking dorks, the both of them. Maybe it's actually good that George didn't do anything, considering the fact he's 7 years her freaking elder. But that is, I mean, I also wondered if those things would happen, you know, but even though we are going out, I mean, it's not like we're married or anything, and these things you seem to be expecting should only be done after making a vow before God, and, Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, restlessly intertwining, separating and making heart marks with them. Apparently, the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her. This is so cute. Ah, I want a boyfriend too. I can't believe you got ahead of me. Even though we promised that we'd find boyfriends at the same time, you beat me. Ah. You're a wonderful person, milady, so I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than me. Don't try to console me, Shannon, you traitor. Get up. Get out. Shut up. Jessica threw several cushions at her. Bro, what is she having an asthma attack doing lying in freaking bed? That's an issue. Jessica threw several cushions at her, but midway she had an asthma attack and started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside was Jessica's bronchodilator. Oh, jeez. That's not what I would call it. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around. She breathed in the medicine, and after a while managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought this is a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. She noticed that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek. Milady? Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird? What are you saying? I think your hair is very beautiful. Then, are my eyes strange? Or maybe my nose? Or is it the way I talk, after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend? Of course not. Milady, you are as wonderful. You are wonderful enough as you are, and you're loaded, and you're rich. And I think your charm will keep on increasing more and more from now on. But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Saku and Hina managed to get boyfriends, but only I can't. Is it because I don't have any charm after all? You know, everyone says they'll bring their boyfriends to the cultural festival. And I was sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one. Before she realized that Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course, she felt like supporting Shannon's progress and love as a friend. However, as she cheered Shannon, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. The rough style of speech Jessica usually used was all just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Ashiramiya family, and as a girl isolated on Rokenjima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that. So, she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only a little. Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry. You are a wonderful person, milady. There's no way you won't find a wonderful man. Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji and Mom will get mad. I'm just fine, so hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron. Jessica faced away, acting as though she really didn't want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore. Bowed her head and left the room. I did not read that right, but okay. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes. But for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. I also want to fall in love. I don't like that. As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch. Beatrice-sama, it's been quite some time. How are you? How has your relationship with the one you love progressed since we last met? As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses. And it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over, but this was a witch after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. Yes, thank you, it's going smoothly. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. I understand that. The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George wasn't fate, that'd be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days, and had started believing in the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well. Cackle cackle. Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you've healed, you forget to even thank them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would never have happened. I've never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun. Yes, it was very, fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. Reading is hard. Especially if I have a toothpick in my mouth. And I also talk really fast, and I feel like that impacts things as well. I don't know. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation. Already, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you would call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she had blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led her to her current relationship with George. So Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared. That's right. Beatrice-sama, I brought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you like, to try some too? Oh? She was so nice to Beatrice, and Beatrice just fucking killed her. A souvenir for a witch. Oh, I mean, she kind of has... Somehow Shannon has also become prime suspect because of this, but... I don't know. The whole thing's kind of fucked. Personally. in my opinion. Yeah, you get a sweet souvenir. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time. Yeah, the reason why I think Shannon is sus is because she made this bargain with the witch. She kind of, like, I guess, opened herself up to being susceptible to the witch and her power. I mean, Battler kind of gave the idea that somebody could have faked their death. I don't know. And it wouldn't, and because of the, like, exchange that Shannon had with Ava, or Ava had with Shannon, rather, I mean, that would give at least her a motive to kill like Ava and Hideyoshi as a point to, like, keep them from getting in the way of her and George. It's kind of a crack opinion. But at this point, crack theories with this game is basically how I've made it like 35 hours in at this point. Also, I really want to figure out who freaking Rose's dad is. I really hope that is something that gets solved. Oh, an Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is true. Chocolate is not really a Western thing. I think it's a little early for me to say how episode 2 is relating so far, but we're setting up just some more background so far. What I'm noticing so far is that, like, a lot of these stories in Act 2 have been been told, like, non-chronologically, which I think is interesting compared to Act 1, which is all very chronological. We're kind of going back and forth. We started with them on the date in Okinawa, and then we went to Shannon smashing the mirror, and then we went to the deal before that, the reason why she smashed the mirror. I think it's interesting. I feel like this game is like doing something with time. There's like the clocks are kind of like a big thing, and like focusing on what time it is. I don't know, that just seems important to me. Actually, Beatrice, chocolate comes from Mexico. The Silk Road of Sweets. What? What's so funny? Nothing. My apologies. The witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter. A good meal. I should serve you some Dolce Vita from Nero one of these days. What is Dolce Vita? Sweet life. Okay. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dolce would be appropriate for you now. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy. Damn, Beatrice, you would have loved Zin packets. Here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this. The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch. There's no need to return it. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity. Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together. But I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever. Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes it to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it, or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all. My apologies, that's not why I... No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. I wonder if she was wearing it when she died. You may hold on to it to gain its benefits. Man, it's so... Or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love, or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons to give them some tool imbued with magical power. I guess what I'm wondering for like Act 2 is, are we gonna stay kind of like in the past, or are we gonna like figure out kind of what's going on with Battler? Because I thought he was the main character and he's kind of out of it right now. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had given with disgust. So, it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch, with a strange and terrifying power. At least it's not a whole George POV episode. That would be like a Alexa, buy rope moment. I don't even think we ever really got a George POV in episode 1. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. Was there a George POV? I don't think so. Natsuya was a POV. Kinzo was a POV. Battler was a POV. George and Shannon were a POV. That's right, together, I guess. But I think it was George for POV for that. Yeah. This is some Game of Thrones shit. I swear to God. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they couldn't help it. Surely, even those who had relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. He is Special Agent 007. 0 charisma, 0 good scenes, 7-year age gap. You love it. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was surely something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times. And it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone had something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her, and enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. I wonder if there's something special about people from the Fukuin house that allows them to see Beatrice. I don't know. I just think there's something more interesting about that subplot than what we've been told. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsuhi got really mad at her, Beatrice started playing around, hitting Natsuhi on the head with her pipe. I see, Natsuhi really doesn't notice a thing, but Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking, and had gotten scolded even more. But what about the master? I hear he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama. That idiot? Pfft. Yeah, Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him. That's an interesting detail. Kinzo actually has zero magical ability. He just studies it. It's a hobby to him. As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest's lack of magical talent before, as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Yoshiramiya family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch Beatrice. In other words, she must have had some kind of relationship with Kinzo. Okay, also given another crack theory I have is that they're all related to Beatrice. And it's only based off their hair color. That was because he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. And that's something really incredible, right? Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts. And then the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, here was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's when my luck ran out. Did we get a young Kinzo scene? No. Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon. Ooh, I feel like this is going to be important. Okay. I feel like this is where I have to pay attention. After all, his contract did have a proper format and set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but, well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted it. Then I gave him a mountain of gold. And then the master used that gold and succeeded in business and grew his wealth into what it is today. Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as a magical power. I see. If you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent. Yeah, he's crazy. Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Yoshiramiya family... What? Ushio-miya? Hold up. I think we got a spelling error here. Ushiomiya. The story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold. In actuality, it was all rambling that no one believed in. And now, Shannon was having this story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew. Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects contained in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world. The truth of this world? The single element that makes up this world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one could obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek. The single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what it was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry. It's love. I underestimated Kinzo just a tad. I truly didn't expect him to display such power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place on this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter whom I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them, and no matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades. As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it probably was a topic that she couldn't press the witch on easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. Like right now. To sum up everything she had said until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason, and she had lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words reached Shannon, who never forgot to show sincere respect for the witch. And Shannon had helped the witch regain her power, if only a little bit. As a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this. Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror you told me to break? Ah, that. Long ago, it seems various things happened on the islands around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seems a traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately the magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference of my magic and was extremely bothersome. Okay, so the Eastern magic was messing with her, I presume, Western magic. Is that how it was? And I just assumed it existed to seal you, Beatrice-sama? Yeah, I lied to you. I was not its target, but it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when I try to set the table, the area for the guest seating is in the Japanese style, with Japanese style dishes. So the kitchen is unable to serve a plate that would be out of place. And no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that. So you destroyed that Japanese style guest seating and returned the area to a blank slate for a time. Thanks to that, the meal I had ordered was finally delivered and my power came back, you could say. However, so far, only the aperitif has arrived. It will be quite some time before the main dish. As I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. Muh? What's so amusing? Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor for magic. I thought it a rather skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended. A slightly sulky expression rose on the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing on the face of some friends as they enjoyed their tea. Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. I've gotten soft. Now I can even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human. She was probably talking to herself. As Beatrice gazed at the seabirds tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips again. The clouds have come out. When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray puddle. You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy. Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup. It seems though things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels for furniture to be reborn as a human? Yes. I never knew the world was this kind. Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she had been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her. You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you? Has something good happened? No, but every day is fun, yes. Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more? Yes, sir. I saw your theory stream yesterday. You had some cool theories. Oh, thank you so much. I think it kind of it was good for me to get all my thoughts down on paper. Well, a Google Doc, but still. That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice, but she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn from furniture into a human. That's interesting. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human. These have been unusual snacks. It was time well spent. It's probably about time you return to your work. So let us end our tea party now. Could you imagine if somebody just walked here and they just saw Shannon having tea for two by herself? That'd be very funny. After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Huh? I don't like when Beatrice makes that face. That freaks me out. The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush. Oh! The bush shook violently and Cannon came out. It seemed he had been there for some time, watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood. Do not worry. Our tea party's over now, Canon. How long were you there? If you had called to us, I'd have poured you some tea too. I imagine that you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right? Canon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect, but unlike Shannon, Canon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies, which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done. It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring even to show myself. If you're that tired, never appear again. Cannon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply. Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again. Wobble? Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Cannon approached her from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers. Nason, didn't I tell you to stay away from her? Beatrice Sama isn't that bad of a person. She's only going to kill both of us in awful, terrible ways. Maybe. Unless it was actually a person. I feel like I'm one of those, like, bell curve memes where it's like negative 1,000,000% IQ, the witch exists. Like, the actual bell curve is, no, the witch isn't real. This can all be explained through regular means. And at the way end of the other bell curve is, the witch is actually real. She did do everything. What is this? Why did I get an at everyone on this server? Okay, that's only going to slightly distract me. The fact that only we can see her is suspicious enough. That thing isn't human. Who knows what she might be planning? Cannon-kun, I think that's a little rude. There was a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. To Cannon, who knew her well, she would have sounded extremely stern. Cannon, looking excessively surprised, considering Shannon's tone, fell silent. It's true Beatrice Sama is different from humans. She has a terrifying power, so I think it's right for us to fear and respect her. Still, I think it's incredibly rude to despise her just because she isn't human. I understand what you're trying to say, Nason. You've changed ever since the witch gave you that brooch. It's like you're her prisoner. She brought you and George Sama together, and now you're indebted to her. Don't say things like that. That thing isn't human. We don't know what she's thinking. You mustn't trust her. And we aren't humans either, Nason. Cannon's words grew more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head. We are furniture. Even if we receive names and are treated as humans, that won't change the manner of our birth. You are no longer furniture. Those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her the happiest, floated through Shannon's mind. I am not furniture. No, you are furniture. We are less than human. Nason, you're just pretending to have forgotten pretending to be human. I did not read that right. Nason, you're just pretending to have forgotten. Pretending to be human. You know that as well as I do. I am not furniture. I'm human. No, you aren't. We have never possessed what it takes to be to love or be loved. Cannon's criticism. Oh, little did he know, freaking Jessica had a crush on him. Even though she's older than him, too. What is up with the Ashira Mia family going after their younger servants? This is kind of weird. Kind of giving me the ick. I don't know. Cannon's criticism seemed to have shifted away from Shannon's meeting with the witch. Shannon... Blah, 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 blah. I hate their names. I hate how they're the exact same name. Shannon picked up on that quickly. I want to see the other servant, Lunan. I heard from Milady. Seriously, what were you thinking? I can't believe you would go on a trip with George-sama. You've forgotten your place as furniture. You've just been tempted by that witch, mistakenly believing that you've become human. Listen, Cannon-kun, it's true that we're furniture, lesser beings, inferior to humans, but if it were possible to make up for what we lack, wouldn't that be the same as becoming human? Such a thing could never happen. What if theory, they're actually not humans and they're literally just like homunculi? The Kinzo's homunculi. Absolute, once again, total crack theory from yours truly. Such a thing could never happen. No, it could. If we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore. We can become human. Ridiculous. As if you could ever do such a thing. Cannon spat those words out, but he did so weakly and turned away. He was probably giving up. After all, the suffering he'd undergone during those days he lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed. You can do it too, Cannon-kun. I'm gonna add that to my crack theories document. Hold up. Dedicated crack theory document. Crack. Kinzo and Battler are the same person. Shannon, Cannon, other Fukuinos are homunculi. Absolute crack. You can become a normal human. Stop it. That's the witch talking. Yes. Beatrice-sama taught me. By obtaining the single element of this world, we can become human. Or rather, nobody's human if they don't have that. That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element. I don't understand what you're saying, Ye-san. I don't really want to listen to ranting. Then I'll teach it in the way even you can understand. Look, see what I'm pointing at? Shannon quietly pointed at the sea towards the horizon. Cannon didn't understand what she meant and couldn't do anything except look beyond the horizon and Shannon's expression, which seemed to be posing a riddle. The sea. Cannon couldn't... What color does the sea look to you? It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Cannon tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently. It's a hazy, dark gray color. Exactly, it's blue. Objectively speaking, the sea, laid out beneath a cloudy sky, could probably be described best by Cannon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head slightly. It looks deep blue to me. Is that what you mean? Like how Japanese people use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light? That's crazy. No. The sea is deep blue. If I understand and you don't, then that's the difference between us. Cannon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while. I don't understand. Cannon-kun, would you stick out your hand? Is she gonna give him the brooch? As Cannon was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arms and opened up the palm of his hand. Shannon softly set something there. It was the... Oh my god, is that the reason why Jessica caught feelings for Cannon? Oh shit. That's wild. I'm blown away. A magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly that could bring love to fruition. This is hers? No, this is mine. So think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay? After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. Cannon didn't know what he should do, and he stood there confused for a while, the brooch still on the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Cannon's, and the brooch was worn by both of their hands. This charm holds true magical power. I'm sure it'll teach you an important emotion, Kanin-kun. There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic. I guess that might be why Jessica had feelings for Cannon. No, there is something. So wear it. If that's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your pocket. Ridiculous. As if I'd let the magic of that person lead me astray. Even as he said that, Cannon couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. I don't know, I feel like this would be a good exception to that. In the end, Cannon took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back. I'm sure you'll be able to learn something important from it, and I'm sure you can become human. And when you do, I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Cannon-kun. Gray is gray, no matter how many times you look. That's wrong, Cannon-kun. It only looks like that because you have no... Fuck! Huh? Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she just said. So Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of the world where it... Reading is hard. She spoke once more of the world where it existed, where the sea was deep blue. I'm sure you'll be able to see a deep blue ocean too. After all, without love, it cannot be seen. And that was just 1 hour, that whole ass dialogue scene. Who is that? It is Cannon, Master. It was rare for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that he had didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood, but that didn't mean his thoughts filling his head were any different from those that he had while inside the study. Cannon knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research. It's cloudy out there. Will it get worse? Yes. According to the weather report, it could rain at any time. Shall I bring an umbrella? It will not come to that. Leave me alone for a while. If my children ask, say that you do not know where I am. I am busy on a journey through my own thoughts. Certainly. Then, if you would excuse me. Before Cannon finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Cannon's presence completely. And once again, he began rambling to himself. Amidst those words, the name of that witch popped up many times. Oh, Beatrice, my hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make sure you smile at me once more? What is lacking? My research? My materials? My catalyst? What is his catalyst? Or is it magical power or luck or an oracle? Oh, Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? Ugh. Oh, he's crying. As Cannon listened to his master's weeping voice with his back turned, he turned around just once. When he did, right behind his isolated old master was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. At once, thinking that the witch must be plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Cannon dashed back to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body. But when he saw the expression on the witch's face, that emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful, or maybe pitying. Can't you see me even though I am here? Oh, this is actually interesting. This is actually really important. Right behind Kinzo, as he repeated the witch's name over and over, desiring to be united with her more than anything else, was the witch herself. And yet, Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. Why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon? The cycle of the comets? The alignment of the planets? What is lacking? What is? What is? It's useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen. Oh. Cannon took the brooch he had received from Shannon out of his pocket. By learning something new, he would be able to glimpse something he couldn't... Would he be able to glimpse something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more. The witch could no longer be seen there. Interesting. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my phone. Phone's done charging. I'm back. I have a little bit of a headache. Nah, I don't. Who am I kidding? This is... Okay. The biggest fall event of the Ashiramiya family was the family conference in October. But to Jessica, there was another major event that came before that. The school cultural festival. Oh no, not one of these. Jessica liked school. She just sucked at it. To her, it was a place where she could let out the stress she'd built up from the rigid lifestyle she was forced to lead at home. For today's cultural festival, she'd formed a group with her friends and had announced that they'd perform some light music on a temporary stage. That's it? Oh, do we get to meet her friends? That'd be really cute. Oh, I really want to meet her friends. Hina and I forget the other one's name. It's too far back. She had prepared and practiced for this over and over until today, but always, anxiously awaiting this day's arrival, but there was one thing that worried her. She looked at the clock. There was still a little time, but she felt uneasy. Would that person really come? After taking a single deep breath, her heart jumped when all her friends suddenly started speaking in shrill voices. Every sound effect was beautiful there. No way! Hina's boyfriend is so awesome! Isn't he? Isn't he? Ren's boyfriend looks really smart. Is it true that guy's a glasses beast? What is a glasses beast? Does that mean something? Nope. I can't get any... I can't get any translation effort on that phrase. Okay, whatever. No way. No way my husband will be a pretty boy. It may... I guess it just means someone hot with glasses. I don't know. That's my only guess. Fuck that shit. I just need glasses to see. I'm just blind as shit. It may not be like this for all girls, but at least for Jessica's school, the cultural festival was basically a boyfriend exhibition. Jessica didn't have a boyfriend. She had many friends of the opposite sex, but no special only one. But Jessica was a little famous around the school, and everyone thought it'd be natural for her to have a fitting partner. Furthermore, her pride had led to her pretend that this was true. She'd somehow managed to keep them fooled until this year, but for various reasons, she hadn't been able to escape this year's cultural festival. Jesse, is your boyfriend what? What? No, it looks like he's not here yet. Maybe he's busy with, work. So what kind of person is he, Jesse? At least give us a hint. What kind of relationship? What kind of relationship? Awesome. So he's a working man. Will he come in a suit? Of course he'll be wearing glasses, right? Yeah. Hey, he actually doesn't exist, right? If you come clean now, we'll let you join us. Let's cry together through this year's cultural festival. No, he exists. He just goes to another school. He just goes to another school, guys, I swear. Jessica's bitter smile was covered with cold sweat. It was starting to seem doubtful whether she really had decided her sharp-witted friend. Had deceived her sharp-witted friends. Okay. Then, how about making a fake boyfriend and taking him with you? A fake? Who? I can't think of anyone who'd do that, except Canon. Shannon's ridiculous plan surprised Jessica into hysterics. Even so, it was probably more realistic than the crazy methods running through her head about getting a boyfriend in the big rush before the cultural festival. For example, what about Canon-kun, who's 3 years younger than her? I think he's 15 and she's 18? Or maybe he's 16, I forget. This girl's a freaking cougar. Absolutely wild. Where did my phone go? Did I immediately lose my phone? That's so awesome. Good job, Pier. That's so awesome, Pier. Great job. You immediately lost your phone. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Canon is 16 and Jessica is 17, so at least this is okay. Yeah, it's not 18, it's not 16 and 23. Why? The last thing I could, ugh, that just sounds miserable for everybody involved. 23, 8, and 16? Ugh, that is terrible. Canon-kun? No way. Anyway, I'm sure Canon-kun has work on the day of the festival, and I really don't want to bother him. Of course, I've already checked the schedule. Canon-kun has that day off. Why are you always so clever when it comes to stuff like this? No, wait. It'd be even worse if he's off. I can't pull him away from a precious day off for my own vanity. If you don't pull Canon-kun away, what is Canon gonna look like if he's dressed out in a regular fit? He is such a boring... Why would she even... What would she see in him? He's kind of like a stick in the mud. Kind of totally a stick in the mud. So I think it'd be perfect if you could drag him out of his shell. You think so? Oh, that face she made was so precious. I love that. No, but I feel bad for him. Then I guess you're out of options. How about meekly confessing to everyone that you don't even have a boyfriend? True, it may be terribly embarrassing, but you'd only have to endure for the short and yet long time before graduation. To a pair of lovers, there's no sweeter honey than a face of a single person with an inferiority complex, star. Shannon! You really aren't worrying for my sake, are you? You're just teasing me, right? Jessica rustled about with Shannon, her eyes teary. But Shannon was unfazed, laughing with her usual smile. Yes, this is to get you back for making fun of me and George-sama all the time. Listening to Shannon's comeback, the likes of which didn't happen even once a year, Jessica hugged her cushion and rolled around her bed, pretending to faint in agony. She couldn't stand Shannon's smile, which looked so triumphant. Where am I? I just lost my spot. But right now, she was the only person Jessica could talk with. She could choke her to death with her cushion later. Is it really so bad, milady? It's a cultural festival, but it'd also be a chance for you to have fun with Canon-kun. No, that may be true, but... Oh, no. He's also, like, kind of short. I don't know, he's kind of a little short. Jessica buried her head in her favorite pillow to hide the fact that her face had been growing red, and she grumpily chewed the fingernail on her thumb. It really was a reaction to being appreciated. Shannon and Jessica were about the same age, of the same sex, and friends. For some reason, I thought they were talking about Canon. I was really freaking confused for a hot second. And they were both right in the middle of puberty. They could never talk enough about love. That's why they could talk freely about these topics to each other. Dude, I didn't talk about any of that shit with anybody. I freaking buried that shit deep inside when I was in high school. If I liked a girl, I don't think she would ever know. And like anybody know. I mean, it was probably super obvious, but I was like super inwards about it. I was super brooding and upsetting about everything. Oh, I was such an angsty little teenager. So Jessica had heard a lot about how Shannon and George's love was progressing. and Shannon had heard a lot about what type Jessica liked and what kind of man she might be interested in. What kind of man is she interested in? Judging by Jessica's reaction, it'd probably be rude for us to go into precisely what these things were. However, this story won't get anywhere if we just have Jessica rolling around forever, so let's dive in. Jessica had been thinking about Cannon ever since he'd shown up. Oh my gosh. It was extremely rare for young men to visit Rokenjima. She's so lonely. That's so sad. So maybe it was natural for Jessica, a girl in puberty, to develop an interest in Cannon. But if anyone said that, it would destroy the romantic ideals of a maiden's pure heart and love at first sight. Shannon had been with Cannon a long time at the orphanage, so she'd known him since before they started working. So Jessica had asked persistently about what his hobbies were, what his favorite food was, what type of girl he liked. This is so obvious, come on. Even to Shannon, it was clear that Jessica was infatuated with Cannon. Come on, isn't this a good chance to take Cannon-kun on a date? But Cannon-kun might also have someone he likes, so... Oh, her face is so funny. Wouldn't he take it badly if I made him go with me just to show off? People aren't honest with themselves like you are. People who aren't honest with themselves like you are. What was that word I learned from George Sama? That's right, I think it was sundora. Tsundere? She's tsundere? Sundora. Sundora is a term for a tsundere character who acts so cold and dry towards their love interest while being dishonest with their feelings. It makes them seem like they are serious. Oh my gosh. Very funny. Apparently they'll be all the rage in a decade or so. Wow, George Nissan sure is incredible, managing to foresee future trends like that. Awesome! No, wait, are you saying I'm living in the wrong decade? Whoa, I give up! It took several days of wasted efforts, but in the end, Jessica agreed to the plan of having Cannon pretend to be her boyfriend. I want to see Cannon in a regular ass fit so bad. Please get him out of that trash fit. He looks like a girl. Come on, get him out of the beret and like a skirt thing. Get this guy some good clothes, please. Yes, milady. Did you call me? Jessica regretted calling out at such a bad time. There's never the right time for love. You're never ready for love. Cannon always looked sullen, but he had some bad days and some better days. Unfortunately, this reaction was the former. No, all that confidence and effort she built up at practicing in front of a mirror all night was wiped out in about 5 seconds. Jessica turned bright red and hung her head. When he saw that, Cannon sighed. Jessica thought that he was exasperated with her, and her face went pale. I heard from Shannon. This is about having me go with you to the school cultural festival, right, milady? Huh? Ah! Nice one, Shannon. I mean, yeah. That's right, but, do you have any plans that day? I was strictly ordered by Shannon to work specially for you on that day, milady. I never have been to high school, so I don't really understand. But I hear it's a place where girls can be shamed if they don't have a boy with them. And I was given special orders to see to it that the daughter of the Yoshiramiya family is in no way inferior to the common people. Shannon, I'll beat you to death later. Jessica kept yelling with a strange voice and a broken smile, like a tea kettle filled with boiling water. As Cannon watched this, he sighed again. Cannon wasn't an idiot either. He fully understood why Jessica fully intended by inviting him. But to be honest, playing along with Jessica's love game seems like it'd be nothing more than an annoyance to him. However, Shannon had asked him over and over. He was deeply indebted to her, so he couldn't refuse. And that brooch was in his pocket. Could this strange turn of events have been brought about by the magic power residing in the brooch? No, because we already knew she was infatuated with him. Ridiculous. But he remembered what Shannon had said to him that day. Could Shannon see something he couldn't? We love yawning into my mic very loudly. I don't understand Shannon's feeling. We are furniture, as if we could ever become anything more. It was truly an odd exchange between Jessica, who was still rambling in a strange voice, and Cannon, who sighed deeply. Jessie, someone's here. Didn't you hear? Haha, yeah, sorry. Who is it? All my friends, as my friends all gathered together, they were looking this way with hard to describe expressions, whispering to each other in small voices that weren't small anymore. My attempt to play dumb felt pretty transparent, even to me. Did I really say sorry? Who is it? Like I don't know who just showed up? It's useless. It's useless. My mind is going blank. Please. What is that coat? What is that coat? What is that coat? Why is he still wearing the beret? I actually like the coat, but get out of the beret. Get this man out of the beret. Fashion police, I beg you. Oh my god, they're calling her a cougar. That's freaking hilarious. No way, that's Jessie's boyfriend? He's so cute. Wait, he's real? No way, seriously? Jessica, you traitor. He's incredible. He's younger? I never heard he was younger. Where? Where's Jessica's boyfriend? She really is into little kids. That would be George, her cousin. Hey, aren't you late? I didn't know where the entrance was. I must apologize for my tardiness. Right, that outfit looks really good on you. Shannon said normal clothes wouldn't do, so we went and bought this the other day. Does it look strange on me? That's not true. Shannon, when I get back, I'll promote you 2 levels. It feels like everyone's here is a girl. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, isn't it? Come on, let's not hang around here. Let's go to the stage, okay? 'Cause I'll be up pretty soon. Come on. Jessica seemed just as uncomfortable. It looked like being bathed in everyone's interested gazes was hard on her. When he saw Jessica's appearance, Cannon thought he might have made things difficult for her by coming. I get a feeling I'm getting in the way. Am I being a burden? I told you, no way. Please tell me at any time if I start getting in the way. Yeah! No way he calls himself Boku. I had to look up what that means. Oh, it's a way for young boys to refer them to themselves in a humble manner. Okay. Ahi. But there's no way you'd get in the way, Cannon-kun. Yeah! She calls her boyfriend Kun. What would you like me to do, my lady? No way! She makes him call her my lady like a butler. OMG, OMG. Wait, this actually predates OMG. This is 86. We're still a ways away from OMG. No, you can't call me milady today. He should be saying bodacious, groovy, radical, far out. No, that's not 80s. Oh, is that so? As you wish, Jessica-sama. Yeah, she's trained him to call her Sama. Sorry, Canon-kun, could you close your eyes for just 3 seconds? Yeah! A kiss! It's a kiss! She's gonna kiss him! As you wish. Bang! Thunk! Bam bam! Shh! Crash! By the time Canon opened his eyes, a horrible tragedy occurred in the room. Everyone had been driven into the walls, their arms and legs outstretched. Jessica had slipped her brass knuckles back into her pocket? What? She's a weapon? Anyway, let's go over to the stage. Our turn's coming up, so take a seat and wait for a bit. Because we've got to get ready. Go straight to the end here, and you'll see a temporary stage. You'll know where to go. Please wait there. She pushed Cannon's back, as he seemed to be having trouble moving himself, and chased him out. Even though Cannon was confused by Jessica's attitude and her panicky state, which he'd never seen before, he followed her instructions and headed to the direction she had indicated. That is not the door sound to keep using. After seeing him off with an awkward smile, Jessica slammed the door shut and yelled loudly. There you go. You saw, right? You saw that. Are you happy now? Wahahaha, sucks for you. I lost the bet. I was sure Jessie didn't have a boyfriend. Are you sure that was her boyfriend? I'll bet she's just abusing one of her servants, right? Wow, Jessie's boyfriend's incredible. Shut up! Come on, let's get ready. When Jessica took the brass knuckles out of her pocket again, everyone energetically returned to their task. Those are for to kill somebody. She can kill somebody with those. Ha! Cannon went down the corridor Jessica had shown him and ran into a temporary stage set up where the vending machine should have been. It was probably being rented by the hour by some group or club. The ones singing were student groups, but the crowd was still incredibly excited. Yeah, because live music's freaking awesome. Disliking that clatter, he leaned against a wall in the darkness by himself. So this is what they call high school. It sure is noisy. That's what Cannon thought. He remembered Jessica just now, acting in a way he'd never seen before. Honestly, he was such in high spirits that alcohol might have been involved. To him, remaining composed and intellectual at all times is the highest virtue. In that sense, it was very hard for Cannon to get used to the atmosphere of a school cultural festival. He had a responsibility to report everything he saw and heard to the master. So he also had to report about how Jessica had acted without restraint earlier. At the very least, it was not fitting for the daughter of the Oshiramiya head family. Rude. This guy sucks, Jessica. What do you see in this dork? This guy's a dweezil nerd. The master, Kraus-sama, and especially Natsuhi-sama, would probably be angry. If I am to report in a way that protects Milady, should I blame it on inappropriate school friends? What's all that? So stupid. Cannon thought back on how Jessica had acted earlier and sighed again. He could understand Natsui's headache a little now. Yeah, children are annoying, it turns out. Who could have ever thought? Oh shit, Wait, I have my dust buster right here. Wait, this is badass. I have to run this for like 5 seconds. Okay, I'm glad I had my little vacuum like right there. Okay. Come to think of it, Natsuhi-sama, as the president of the PTA? Why the fuck is she the president of the PTA? She doesn't even live on this island. Of course she's the president of the PTA. What am I asking? She's exactly the type. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started. Was supposed to go to an informal gathering after attending the ceremony in the gymnasium. The gymnasium. She said that she wouldn't be able to see Milady's performance, didn't she? That's probably for the best. Crowds certainly are unpleasant. What in the world is going on? Imagine dropping this guy in like Shibuya. Several female students keep glancing at me. It seems they're all whispering the same things. Milady's school friend said, and it's truly unpleasant. Come to think of it, didn't Shannon warn me? If you walk alone at something like a school festival, you better watch out because lots of strange people will come and talk to you. Excuse me, are you by yourself? Just as expected, a group of girls I'd never met started talking to me. Their stares started to make my back tingle. Didn't she tell some magic words that could chase them off at a time like this? Sorry. I'm with someone. Oh, really? I'm sorry. It worked. Instant reaction. Well, that got rid of them, but it really hasn't changed the number of people staring at me. No way, that kid, that's Jessica's boyfriend? No way, it's that kid? I can't believe it, I was sure he was fake. Isn't he cute? So he's younger, lucky Jessie. Ha. There's no way I'll ever come to a place like this again. Cannon sighed for about the zillionth time that day. When he did, the lighting changed and the standing audience started cheering. He looked around and realized there was suddenly a large group of people there. And unlike earlier, they were mostly guys. With this huge crowd, he couldn't even see the stage. Why is there a beer case at a school? Fortunately, there was a fallen beer case nearby, so he tried to use that as a footstool. When he did, he realized that there was now a new group on the stage. Their leader is Milady. She changed into stage clothes and she was even holding a guitar. Fuck yeah. I want to see it. Please, I want to see it. I want to see her all fucking ready to rock. I didn't know she could play. Then again, maybe she can play. I've seen her practicing air guitar before. Natsui-sama wouldn't approve any hobbies outside of study. Yeah, because she sucks and is lame. Like that whole family. Maybe she was always practicing in secret. Come to think of it, she's been returning really, really late from school recently, hasn't she? Maybe she's been practicing at school, far away from Natsui-sama's prying eyes. It's 86! This is the decade of, like, big hair, city pop. This was, like, it. It really is the best that Natsuhi-sama didn't come. If Milady were to get scolded by Natsui-sama after putting so many hours of practice in, she'd probably be dejected. Jessie-sama! Everyone! Thanks for gathering here today! I could hear Jessica-sama's forceful voice through the speakers. Jessie-sama? Maybe that's her nickname at school. The students in the audience kept calling out that name. I'm a little offended by that crude name. It's inappropriate for Milady. Jessica-sama was in high spirits as they kept shouting, Jessie-sama! Everyone here is probably a fan. Her mic performance picked up on that and electrified them even more. It was almost like a music program on TV. What's like the worst band she could be into in 86? Was the Chili Peppers a thing in 86? Could she please be into like... Or what about... Oh, she's definitely about to play some Red Hot Chili Peppers for them. Or what about, oh, what's that band called? Limp Bizkit. Oh, that's 94. Damn it. Oh, I'd really loved it if she was into some really shit music. Oh, that'd be so fun. At first, he'd thought this was all silly, but that feeling hadn't changed into appreciation. It was incredible in its own way. Cannon never listened to music of his own free will, because he's freaking... No wonder why he thinks he's furniture. He has no interest, he's just lame. But he'd often heard the kinds of music the Yoshiramiya family liked. Since it was almost all classical, Cannon had naturally taken a liking to that kind of music. So, to Cannon, the song Jessica sang was, how should you say, extremely colorful. In any case, if Natsui-sama heard it, she'd probably faint. I just want to see her all dressed up. Please, it'd be so... Yes! Let's fucking go! I got the biggest shit-eating grin on my face right now. Yes! Hold up, I'm just gonna listen to this for a bit. Okay, that's enough. I'm jamming out to this. But everyone looked like they were having a really good time. Oh, they brought pen lights? I'm freaking adoring this scene. Some diehard fans had even brought pen lights, sang along as they danced crazily at the same movements, almost as though it had been planned ahead. On the stage, Jessica-sama also sang enthusiastically, dripping with sweat. He couldn't find a single element that was appropriate for a daughter of the Yoshiramiya family, but it looked so much fun. Jessie-sama! Jessie! Jessie! Again, today behind me. The sound of footsteps. Oh, Yashiro-sama is stalking me. Curses, disappearance, sacrifices, torture. Onikakushi, does that make a good snack? Don't say Marissa. I guess that was some of the lyrics. Maybe I should listen. Maybe that song means something, unfortunately. I must not go along with it, but at any rate, Milady is full of life and looks. Like she's having a great time. I definitely read that 100% correctly. As I watched Milady enjoying herself, I thought, could this be Yoshiramiya Jessica's true nature? Don't I know better than anyone that during her life on Rokkenjima, she's had no choice but to kill her sense of self? Yeah. So, the time she spends, not as Milady, successor to the Yoshiramiya family, but as a single girl called Jessica, living her life to the fullest, must be very important to her. I've worked close to Milady, seeing her in all seasons, and thought I knew everything about her. But that was all limited to one side of her, the Milady of Rokkenjima. We are furniture. We serve on Rokkenjima and our lives end on Rokkenjima. So I've come to think of Rokkenjima itself as our whole world. As though, like in the Ptolemaic story, the ocean spilled off the end of the world into an abyss. But when I looked at Milady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. How many people live on Nijima? Like, it can't be that more than like 1,000 people. 2,700 people live on Nijima. How far away is Nijima from... Okay, it's not that far away from mainland Japan. I thought it was... It's actually way closer than I thought it was. I thought it was way to the south, but no. There's Izu, Oshima, Toshima, Uroneshima, Himejima, Nijima, Kozushima, Miyakejima, Mikurajima, Hachijo-jima, Ikojima, Aokashima, ne Suretsuga, Sugisuto, Toishima, Sofuima. Okay. So it is like right off the coast of Tokyo. I can't go along with the excitement of the crowd, but I feel like I can see something that cannot be seen on Rokkenjima. I'm sure if this unseeable thing Shannon was talking... I'm not sure if this was an unseeable thing Shannon was talking about. Dude, music is like the most powerful thing in the world. What do you mean? The Izu Archipelago. Okay. The ocean still doesn't look blue to me. Well, that's a matter of perspective. Are they back on Rokkenjima already? Wasn't the cultural festival at Jessica's school today? How is the principal doing? He seemed to be in good health. That's right. Diet member Takamiya was also there. He said to give you his regards. Busy as usual? It appeared so. That person is also very energetic. Oh, and I believe President Emoto also made an appearance. The president of Japan? I forget, did they have a prime minister in Japan or a president? I know it's different because Japan's constitution took, like, new constitution took a lot of inspiration from America's. But they do have prime minister, okay. Except I think he just resigned. Somebody in the Japanese government just resigned. It wasn't this guy. Their freaking politics are so corrupt, it's hilarious. They have freaking one party in Japan. The Liberal Democratic Party. They control the whole freaking country. And I think this was the first time in probably since the 90s that they didn't have a full control over their national diet. Oh, so they ruled a party called the New Komeito Party. Yeah, this party's huge, the CDP. Weekend Nishito. Okay. I'm just like doing the study. The study. I gotta stop looking at Wikipedia. I get too sucked in. Naturally, the topic of Jessica's cultural festival came up at dinner. School events often became social gatherings for local volunteers. It was the same for the Yoshiramiya family, who were celebrities around there. Natsui remembered the name of one VIP after another at the social gathering, telling Kraus the news about them. Jessica really didn't have any interest in discussion and rudely slurped her pumpkin soup. Milady, perhaps you ought to take more care with your manners. Yeah, sorry about that. Jessica, how many times must I tell you to watch your language? Yes, ma'am. Jessica answered, discouraged. When he saw that, Kraus smiled a little and paused his conversation with Natsui. How was the festival for you, Jessica? Huh? Well, it was okay. I was watching. You did an excellent job. Huh? well... Jessica's face turned bright red. She probably hadn't imagined that Natsui would actually come and see her on stage. She felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment. Well, actually, she hadn't really wanted her mother to watch, since she didn't want to be told that her music was inappropriate for the Yoshiramiya family. but it certainly didn't make her unhappy to hear a parent say she'd done a good job after watching her try her best. Jessica acted with both composure and dignity, fitting behavior for the student's representative. Ah, oh, yeah. The smile that had been there until a second ago crumbled like sand. Jessica immediately realized that her mom was talking about something different. Jessica was also the school's student president. Of course she is. Why is she so worried where she's gonna go to college when she's already got all this cool shit going for her? I was a freaking loser in high school. She had no interest in doing something so annoying, but her parents had been pushy, so she grudgingly accepted. Unfortunately, she was popular at school, so she won the election easily. So Natsui was praising her for the student council sponsorship ceremony at the beginning of the cultural festival. Actually, she had just carried that out half-heartedly. After that, she immediately met up with her friends and held a stage rehearsal for the rest of the time. That experience of standing above people and bearing responsibility will surely prove useful in the future. I'm sure it will help Jessica mature as a member of the Oshiramiya family. But you rushed a little while giving your greeting. You get a pass on content, but the fast pace of your speech lessened the impact. It might help if you developed the habit of pausing every once in a while. I talk way too fast when I do public speaking. Like, I'm a good public speaker. Like, I don't have any problems with it. I love public speaking, but I feel like I talk too fast sometimes. I really gotta slow down because my brain is just like going super fast all the time. And I don't think about what I say. It's my bad. Oh wow, that Century of Ilhan Omar failed. This shit's crazy. Yeah. I think I'm gonna end a little early today, probably in like 20 minutes, because I gotta go to bed a little early tonight. After she finished eating, Jessica didn't feel like going straight to her room. Her room was basically the place her parents had ordered her to be. So perhaps for Jessica, instead of returning to her own room, being in an unknown location in this large mansion was a meager form of resistance. Jessica felt that even being in the mansion made it hard to breathe, so she went outside to the rose garden. Well, even if she did show up, I'm sure she would have said something about how it wasn't appropriate for the successor of the Oshiramiya family. So, isn't it better this way? Jessica laughed, but she wasn't at what she was sulking over. She laughed at the kind of words she could possibly have been experiencing. That was dumb of me. In the end, I was acting like an entitled brat. I'm a little exasperated with myself, and it makes me want to laugh. Milady? Well, Cannon-kun, don't scare me like that. She was about to force a laugh. Cannon suddenly started talking to her, and she choked. What's up? Got something to say? Yeah? Jessica's expression became the one she always wore when she was looking at Cannon. The listless Jessica from seconds ago was gone. If he had still only known Jessica as the eventual successor to the Oshiramiya family, as he had until yesterday, he might have mistakenly thought that Jessica's mood had sprung back to normal, but that wasn't right. He now knew a part of her that he couldn't have seen until yesterday, so he understood that there was no way Jessica actually felt the way she appeared. Oh, about today's cultural festival. Well, thanks for coming with me so I could show off. You saved my butt out there. That song. You're really good. What? Ah. Really? You're embarrassing me. Even though she had heard the words that she most wanted to hear, Jessica acted shyly and couldn't accept them openly. I cannot sing, and I do not know how to play any instruments other than the harmonica and the recorder, which I learned in elementary school. Hey, that's something, man. I love to play it. I'm like a very amateur musician, so I really vibe with that. Oh shit, this guy double ban avoided me. That's annoying. Oh, it didn't even show up. It was automatically caught because the guy created his account yesterday. Oh, that's annoying. So I simply assumed you were the same, lady. At the time, Cannon had never felt as though he'd been looking down on Jessica in this way, but all the people he'd seen playing special instruments were on the other side of the brown tubes in the TV. At the very least, he'd been under the impression that it'd be impossible for Jessica. I am furniture, so I didn't believe there was any need to sing or play instruments, but I'm not sure anymore. Yes, Canon, music is the most powerful thing we've ever created as a society. You're learning, Canon. You're becoming human. Oh shit, I dropped my keys. Hold up, I gotta pick up my keys. I can't make sure I drop those if I'm freaking driving a long trip tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Can't lose that shit. Which is why I immediately dropped it again. I'm so cool like that. And I'm missing my phone too, which is like the best part. But I can just use my computer to find my phone, no big deal. Okay, gotta sit back down. Seriously, Cannon-kun. Enough with that I am furniture bullshit. That's like a proper attitude servants are supposed to have, right? Servants are supposed to be like living furniture. Genji-san says it a lot. It isn't just a proper attitude, because we really are furniture. I know the kids from the Fukuin house receive assistance from grandfather in various ways, and I realize how grateful you are for that, but it's a bit cruel for you to have to call yourself furniture just because of that. We're all human, aren't we? Okay, my pet theory that Fukuin house people are actually homunculi seems slightly more possible. Cannon-kun, when you saw me singing, what did you think? It looked like you were having a lot of fun. I don't think that's true. Huh? You didn't just think it looked fun. You were envious, weren't you? It's not... Cannon probably hadn't noticed that emotion in himself. Most likely, Cannon saw something he'd never seen before, learned about it for the first time, and felt envious. And to trick himself out of that emotion, he called himself furniture over and over. I know I'm a successor to the Ashiramiya family or whatever, and well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of annoying stuff to do from now on. As far as that goes, I can't do anything but give up, since I was born under an unlucky star. Probably just like you had to live at the Fukuin house. I don't have a choice either. I couldn't see the stars under which I was born. That may be true, but there's one place where you and I are completely different. Know what that is? I am furniture, and my lady is not. He was about to say that, but stopped. I do not know. Canon-kun, you decided that your fate determines everything about you and gave up. But I haven't accepted this kind of fate, so I do the best I can. So while there's still the rigid and cornered me that's gotta stay the daughter of the Ashira Mia family, I've created another me that I can do what I like to the fullest. Another you. Yeah, Canon-kun, you've been instructed to say because I am furniture. I'm sure you've gone through a lot of tough times just because of that. I think that's really shitty and unfortunate. But the idea that your entire life will be decided by that alone just seems sad to me. You know, it's always possible for people to create another self inside of them, a self that they can truly grow to like. I'm not talking about escaping from reality, okay? But when I'm that other self, I can really feel like I'm having a great life. So no matter how constrained and boring everyday life gets to be, I can always live on without suffocating. To make another self inside yourself that you can truly grow to like. To make another me, one that isn't furniture. Through her relationship with George-sama has given birth to another self that isn't furniture. And did the other Shannon see something that cannot be seen by furniture? That's right. Well, I don't know anything about your private life, Canon-kun, but I can sort of guess. Your private life probably doesn't exist at all, am I right? Canon couldn't reply, but that was answer enough. He had no concept of a private life, so Canon would always be Canon. So furniture would always be furniture. Are we gonna learn what Canon's real name is? I'm like here. I feel like some of these names are at least Googling to see what they mean, just in case there's like some double meaning here. At least the Japanese ones. I don't know about the ones in English. So furniture would always be furniture. Oh yeah, I got his real name. Canon-kun. Canon isn't your real name, right? In the Fukuin house, new graduates would be given new families and a new life, so that they were always given a new name. In his case, that was Canon. Certainly. This name of mine may be a temporary thing. Before he thought of himself as Canon, and no one else, but he remembered, there definitely had been another self that wasn't Canon. But that was far, far away, beyond the distant fog of oblivion. So even for you, it should be okay to have times when you're Canon-kun and times where you aren't. Maybe when you act as a servant, that Canon-kun calls himself furniture and strictly limits his own will. But when you aren't Canon-kun, I think it's okay to live much, much more freely. Those words definitely weren't just lip service. Jessica had also been like this in the past. She had cursed her own birth in an environment different from all of her friends at school. Only she had been in a heavily constricted environment, forced to learn all sorts of things, and she had even been told whom she was and wasn't allowed to play with. It may seem sad, but she'd given up, resigning herself to the fact that she'd been born under that kind of star. But one day, Jessica stopped giving up and surrendering. Stuff like Ashira Mia family customs and pressure didn't matter. She created a real Jessica inside herself, one who could do anything she really wanted to do. You know, I go by the nickname Jessie at school. When I'm Jessie, I live life honestly and to the fullest. And because of that, I can do my best when I'm Jessica too. Would it really be so bad if you could also have times when you're Canon-kun and times when you're, your real name? When you aren't Canon, can't you try becoming another self you can like? Time when I'm not Canon. He once thought of his real name as being completely meaningless. Because of that, He thought that canon summed up everything about him, and now Jessica was telling him to create something new, another self that wasn't canon. Canon-kun. If you don't mind telling me, what's your real name? He was silent for quite some time. Maybe Canon's real name had risen to the tip of his tongue. After hesitating for a long time over whether he should say it, in the end, he swallowed it back down. I forgot. My name doesn't matter anymore. The words contained a faint rejection. No matter what kind of name, real name I had, the only truth now is that here I am canon. The past has nothing to do with anything. The materials which furniture is made, be it a trunk of a tree or otherwise, are meaningless in the end. I told you to stop that. You aren't furniture. You're human, right? I am not human! Canon clearly voiced his refusal. It was with a rage that he normally didn't show. Jessica couldn't say anything back and was struck silent. You are human, milady, so you are free to live any way you please. And any kind of future is possible to you. It's almost like you have wings and can dance through the sky like a bird. But I am not like that. Even if I looked like a bird, I'd be nothing more than a domestic duck. Even though they have wings, they cannot fly. To speak to me of that dream in the sky despite that, it's just too cruel. Furniture and ducks, what the hell is all this? No. Jessica had unconsciously gone along with Canon's forceful manner of speaking, but when she realized that she shouldn't fire back, she swallowed her words. I don't know anything about you. I don't even know your upbringing, and I don't know the hardships you've been through, so I can't even imagine why you started calling yourself furniture. But I know this. You aren't furniture, or a duck. You're a real human. If you want to say Canon-kun's furniture when he's working as a servant, that's fine. But in that case, don't you think you can create a self for when you aren't furniture, for when you're human? Only a human like Milady can embrace that possibility. I am not like that. I have no future, no possibilities, no dream I am allowed to see. So, Milady, please don't say any more cruel things. Why? Why do you say stuff like that? Because it seems you mistakenly think I'm a human, the same as you, Milady. We are different sorts of beings. I just wanted to make that clear. I heard from Shannon something about Milady liking me. Something about Milady liking me. What? No. I look almost identical to a human. So, like Shannon, I could probably delude myself into thinking I'm human and pretend love for a time. But then I would surely be fooling myself. No, I would be fooling you too, milady. Shannon and George-sama will definitely fall apart. Even though Shannon herself realizes that that day will come, she's taking part in such a stupid. There's nothing stupid about it. Sure, George Nissan's a wonderful person and he's got to match up to his parents' expectations. I'm sure when it comes to marriage, Aunt Eva will interfere in various ways, and I think their future prospects look like they'll be full of trouble, okay? But you know what? George Nissan isn't the kind of guy who will surrender to that shit. Shannon's no Juliet. He'll definitely bring her happiness. People cannot engage in romance with furniture. What I'm trying to say is that even if you can love furniture, I cannot love you, my lady. Those words of Canning's crushed all of Jessica's bittersweet feelings from that day. There was no way her emotions could have predicted that she'd been refused so bluntly. This chapter is, this whole episode is about love. In an instant, she lost the willpower that had led her to try and unravel something stubborn in Cannon's heart, and before she knew it, she was just standing there, in shock. Milady, if your feelings for me were due to conceit, then I must ask you to forgive me. No, I won't deny that. Thank you very much. Huh? Thank you very much for thinking of me as a human. Those feelings alone really do make me happy. Anything more would be too cruel for me, so... No, I've said enough. Sorry about that. Jessica recklessly scratched at her head and spoke, trying to force her voice to sound bright. I just kind of ran ahead of myself and was a burden on you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble on your precious day off. No, I was also happy that I could see you having fun. Then let's call it a night. If we don't get back to my room and turn off the lights, if I don't get back to my room, Mom will get mad at me again. That's probably for the best. I wish you a good night, milady. Yeah, good night. Aw, poor Jessica. Cannon saw Jessica trot away with her back to him, looking disheartened. But then she slowly broke into a reckless dash and disappeared into the direction of the mansion. As he watched her back for just an instant, Cannon was tormented by the feeling he just made a huge mistake. But he hadn't made a mistake at all. He'd been forced to refuse her now for her sake, while the pain was still at its smallest. Nice going, making a woman cry like that. I didn't expect you to refuse her that strongly. If you'd given her a normal answer, another pair of lovers would have been born thanks to my magic. How long have you been there? What a horrible person. When he turned around, the witch was suddenly there. It looked like she'd been there the whole time, watching the two of them as though enjoying a play. I shall forgive you for your insults just this once, in deference to that amusing little show. Even after 1,000 years, no more interesting show exists than complications between boys and girls. To me, it's a pleasure that's better and more addictive than opium. She smokes opium? That's opium in that pipe? There's just a crackhead on the island now. It's not really magic. She's just doing crazy amounts of drugs. Cannon pulled the butterfly brooch out of his pocket. It was the manifestation of the great magic the witch had bestowed. Without hesitation, Cannon slammed it against the ground and stomped on it. Oh, what's the meaning of this? You know that was given by me. Just now I figured it out. What you're doing isn't as tasteful as being a cupid of love. You're just a demon who enjoys showing love to those who could never be together, deceiving them. You are free to think that. Most humans I've lent my power to say the same thing. Don't play dumb. You didn't lend Shannon your power because you felt sorry for her. You found a weak point in Shannon's heart as her chest burned with love, and you made her break that mirror that sealed you. What's more, you guessed how this would all end, and now you're toying with her. Am I wrong? Furniture is a thoroughly pitiful existence. So, you have no dreams, no future, and even no love. Good, there's nothing better than knowing your place. As you noticed, there was a faint love residing in Jessica's heart. You seem to think you've snipped it in the bud. But did you know? Trees grow thicker branches if you thin out and prune them. A girl who loves furniture, is it? Amusing, how truly amusing. Shannon and George will also eventually reach a stalemate with their unfillable love, ripening into a sort of large fruit I love. Regretfully, it seems to be going so smoothly for the two that it's hardly entertaining anymore. But on the plus side, it seems the two of you will amuse me to no end. The witch laughed. Even though she had known the two could never be together, she lent them the magic to bring them together. However, they couldn't escape the fate that prevented them from being truly joined. The witch knew that. Even if they were joined, Shannon and George, Cannon and Jessica would eventually break up. They would wander through an endless desert in this hell of love, tormented by an eternal thirst. What did you think? I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in exchange? I'll gladly assist a pair in love. In exchange, I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate that they'll eventually meet. I have never come across a better show, not over the course of 1,000 years. Just look at Kinzo. See how he ended up? An old, pitiful man who learned the taste of love before being thrown out of paradise. Look at how he lives, like a dead man that cannot fully die. You are truly a witch. Disappear. Get out of my sight, demon. Oh, I would disappear, even without your prompting. My power still hasn't returned. It is still trying to continue showing myself. I overdid it when I gave you lovers my power. As I am now, it will not be easy to maintain that power without the brooch as a catalyst. Cannon ground his foot even more into the stomped brooch. He felt it break under his foot. Then it evaporated like water and changed into the butterflies that sparkled gold fluttering out from beneath Cannon's foot. Maintaining this form is quite painful to me. For me as well. I will hide myself for a time, just as you desire. My magical power will rise surely as the moon and the tides, and eventually, a fitting time will come for my revival. I know not in the slightest whether it will be tomorrow, next year, or even 100 or 1,000 years in the future, but as long as there are those who entertain me, I will surely empower and revive. I will disappear for a short while, until that time comes. The bruise on the palm of your hand is already gone, so if you wish, tomorrow morning you can let my existence vanish like an illusion or a dream. After all, nothing saddens me more than being forgotten. However, I will surely be revived. Be on your guard, so you will not regret that day is coming when it arrives. I will surely have my second coming and rule over everything as this island's true master. That is the time when the door to the Golden Land will be opened again. The greedy dead will surely wake me. You talk too much. Disappear now, Golden Witch. The witch became a cloud of gold butterflies and scattered away, leaving behind a scornful laugh. The whole area sparkled like a gold blizzard on a snow globe. It was a fleeting, fantastical scene that disappeared in a heartbeat. I think that's where I'm going to end. So I'm ending a little early today. But I gotta wake up early tomorrow, so it works out for me. And I will not be back until like the end of the week, because I'm going to be gone for a while. Alright. And I'll see you then. At this point, I'm like too far into this game to stop, so I just have to keep going. Because I have to know how this shit all ends. So I'm just so locked into streaming this right now. Alright, well, bye.